according to doctors at the World Health Organization, future variants of COVID-19 will be more contagious than even the Omicron variant. This is in the backdrop of everything that we see around us. I don't have to describe or put into any type of language to be dramatic, because you see what's happening outside of your door. You see what's happening at the hospitals near you, at the grocery stores. We have decided to run into the pandemic as a nation, right? And I use decided, obviously, tongue in cheek, but we have been thrust into the fire of the pandemic so that we can continue to go out and consume. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you have a 75% consumer-driven economy. Those people who make the money off that 75% absolutely could not imagine you not going to work or you not going to Hooters. And it's because of those simple driving forces, greed, that we have been thrust into the pandemic by all the people who are given charge to protect us. And because of that, we are now, and it's not only that, I got to put one more piece. And when I think of the World Health Organization, I think about the vaccine apartheid that is going on. The fact that here in the United States, while so many Americans are refusing to even take the vaccine, we are still hoarding and wasting all of the excess vials of vaccine, when countries across the world, and particularly in the global South, developing nations, or rather, let me correct myself, not developing nations, nations that are recovering from colonialism. Those nations are pleading not for free vaccines. They are pleading to purchase the vaccines. And yet the United States of America is hoarding it. All of those forces combined led us to the Omicron variant, which spread like wildfire. I believe they said the entire nation was covered with the Omicron. I've been around too many. There it is. I already broke it's that kind of morning. The Omicron variant. I'm so tired of people saying the Omicron variant. Is Dr. Mack here? Because I need to bring Brother Mack in, because now I'm thrown. The topic is issue, but so many people have said the Omicron variant. I can't honestly get it out of my head. It is the Omicron variant, Dr. Mack. It was so contagious that it spread in less than a week across the entirety of the nation. My concern is that the underlying assumption that a lot of people may be playing with right now is very faulty. I think the assumption is that future variants will be less deadly because the Omicron variant had fewer severe cases. But that's not necessarily true about future variants of COVID-19.
You know, to your point about the capitalism behind this effort, and I'm not sure how I feel about it being, but J&J made over $3 billion off of its effort with the vaccine. Now, you know, am I bothered by that? Ben, I got to tell you, I'm really not. As much as I can get and understand greed and capitalism, I mean, we should all think back to when COVID-19 was absolutely raging, and we're watching and hearing the staggering numbers of deaths. If they were able, and they made this vaccine in record time. So, you know, truth be told, in this regard, because there's absolute proof in what they did, and who knows the countless numbers of lives that have been saved. You and I mean, even though I took the Pfizer vaccine, still the efforts that was put place by these great scientists, men and women, to come up with a vaccination, I don't think I have a problem with that aspect.
Well, so I mean, to be sure, I don't have a problem. I personally don't have a problem because, you know, I'm out here on the outer edge of these economic issues. But I don't have a problem with Johnson & Johnson and the rest of these pharmaceutical companies for making what they're making on the vaccine, because, well, you know what? We're in the system that we're in and we need that vaccine. Write them the check. Let's get it done. I have a problem with all of the people in our political structures and all of the employers who exacerbated this situation by not doing what was necessary at the beginning, which was shutting things down, which was instituting mask mandates, instituting vaccine mandates. There was not the political will. And I guess they didn't have enough political capital, along with people who, I mean, they're really just people who made so much money off of this beyond the vaccines. You think of these testing centers. There was a report of a testing center that had that got so inundated with tests that they just started faking the results. But they made the money off of it. I mean, people were buying. I mean, there's such a large economy around COVID-19. And the bad thing about it is let's hold the constant for the vaccine. Let's hold that steady. I agree with you on that. But all the other factors underneath it, they all contributed to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people in this country.
You know, Ben, again, one of the things that we have to remember, what is our greatest strength in this particular situation also became our greatest weakness. And that is that we are a democratic society. We're not like China. China is communist. Again, when they say they're going to lock it down, they can lock it down. But here in this country, you just can't do it. So I knew that when the variant hit and I understood what China was doing, there was much talk in political circles and in some of my circles with friends that are very much apolitical, who said that the reason why China is going to come out of this a lot quicker than we are is because they're a communist society. When that government, just like now, China is in the midst of a zero COVID lockdown, in preparation for the Winter Olympics coming and the likes. And now folks are saying, what is that going to do? Wall Street is now looking at it saying, if China is in this lockdown like that, what is that going to do for their economy? But unlike China, in this country, we can ask people to do the right thing, unlike a communist government who can absolutely mandate that you do the right thing. So, our greatest strength in this situation became our greatest weakness. And hopefully, now, what really hurt us, all things said, because I will say this, even in this democratic society, I was amazed at how many people did go in and go through lockdown and the likes. Our biggest problem in this particular pandemic, and let us never, ever forget this, our biggest problem is that negative 45 was at the helm. He was at the wheel. And Lord knows he, as the leader of arguably one of the most powerful nations to ever grace this earth, turned this pandemic into a soup sandwich. That's everything that you could do wrong, he did do wrong, and ultimately turned this into a political football. So you go back.
That's the part. That's that part.
And I think when history records this, you go back and just look at the videotapes, just listen to the words that came out of his mouth at the time they came out of his mouth. Oh, the Democrats are trying to make this into a big thing. There's maybe one or two people. We got this thing clearly under control. By the summer, it'll all be gone away. You go back and listen to what he did. And then remember, I think it was the Bush administration and the Obama administration that had a pandemic task force in place. In his quest to undo everything that President Obama did, he also undid the pandemic task force, and it literally cost this nation. So let us not forget that is, and I'm saying Republicans and Democrats alike. Let's go back and remember those pictures of Vegas or go in Atlanta. You could go downtown in Atlanta. There was nobody on the streets. So Republicans and Democrats alike, all of us were trying to do the right thing, but you had this idiot leading the effort. And now he began to make this pandemic a political football. And now everything about it is now that political football.